Greetings, Fate Makers, and welcome to WonderFix. I'm Pirek, and I'll be your host tonight. WonderFix focuses on explaining how changes from the latest hotfix affect your game, and also bring up some gear, often mentioned as underperforming, and ask our guests to make it work. My guest tonight is well known within our Discord community, very helpful with understanding the game, avid cosmetics collector Tatsu. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on. How are you doing today?
I'm great, lovely to have you here. Let's get into the hotfix from yesterday, starting with the new featured run that involves Taskmaster and King Archer. How do you feel about that set? Any gear to look after?
Um, are we mentioning the two main bosses as well?
Oh right, I didn't check who are they because they were a
It's
surprise.
Nightmare and Banshee this week, which,
Oh,
in
okay.
all honesty, is a really good week for anyone who wants to start getting to melee builds.
Hmm.
Nightmare drops Twin Soul, which drops with double hilt mods. Brilliant, you can get Ant and Caustic. Reasonably good pairing, not the best, but it's something you'd want to do. Yeah, it drops. Does it drop Twister as well? Yes, Twister drops from Banshee. Banshee's got a really stacked loot pool. Amazing for farming this week. You got Wailing Banshee, probably one of the best two-handed melees.
Hmm.
Twister spell, really good DPS if you build around elemental. And the Auto Magic pistol, just all round a good pistol. I mean, this is a great week to farm.
I mean, with the four bosses in there, I'm sure there's a lot to get from this featured run. Although I'm missing mimics a little bit from the last week.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was great for cash farming. But
Yeah. Oh, hopefully we're gonna have another opportunity to create another featured run with the community here. So this week's mini event, Fortunate Encounters, guarantee more loot drop and moon orbs from random encounters in the overworld. So moon orbs used for enchantments. This is the good time to get your favorite enchantments in your gear. So tell me, what are your favorite enchantments, or maybe the most surprising one you discovered in Wonderlands?
weirdly, I would, well, not really weirdly, I would generally just say anything damage related. Like you got Burgeoning. Oh god, I can't remember the others. Anything damage related, if you're going to get an elemental pairing of your weapon, that's brilliant. Action skill start is always a good shout. Any
Mm-hmm.
elemental damage, all damage. I tend to run those on my weapons and match the damage type up to the weapon. So swap to Livewire, for example, that have action skill start, boost shock damage
Mm-hmm.
of 10 seconds. That's as good as it gets for that one. You get more damage out of it. So yeah.
Okay.
One reasonably unknown one would be yes, would be the flooding enchant for spells.
Mm-hmm.
On kill, you gain an extra projectile, and it's really good for high damage projectiles like ice spike spells.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get that. You can get up to that makes it. If you can get one with double projectile roll, you can take it up to 6 projectiles on cast, and that's just more damage.
Sounds like a good thing to remember about enchanting your
Absolutely.
spells. Yeah, so we got a third DLC. It sure did positively surprise the community with slightly different setup and interesting boss fight. Week 2 started, Fyodor grew more powerful. Did you fight his new form yet?
Yes. I didn't really notice anything going on with the boss too much different, but the in between stages, every
Mm-hmm.
time you do a quarter of his health, they added you have to like kind of run around a thing in the middle of the runway,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of have to just pick your path a little bit better because obviously it's a one life kind of situation. Yeah, it was a really good challenge. I hope they improve on that like more and more each week because having those little mini in between stages, it's great. It's a massive change to a boss fight. It splits it up reasonably well and it keeps you on your toes.
Mm,
I
sounds
think
good. Mm-hmm.
overall, like DLC free, PLC free has probably been one of the best so far. The best so far. Can't really hold out on 4. It's got a new class. That one probably will top it.
We shall see, we shall see. But we have still 2 weeks to go with Fyodor and the encounters getting more difficult on the way. So we will see. Okay, let's take a look into hotfix changes. So we got several patch spots on the map that used to softlock you or allowed you to fall off the map and reduce chance of DLC bosses in Chaos Chambers, but let's talk about Blank Slate, one of those more memey items in the game people usually don't look into using. It will now apply ward properly. Is there any moment in the game where that item is actually worth equipping?
I think for me personally, the only time I've actually used it is for trying to power level characters.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to get them from 1 to 40 as quick as possible, just for that 10% XP boost. I mean, it's not a lot generally. It doesn't help you out. You lose quite a lot by using it,
Mm-hmm.
but if you know what you're doing, it's a good bonus. You know, it does make it a little bit shorter getting up to 40, and then you can start min maxing your builds correctly.
Sounds like a good strat for quickly leveling up your character. That's for sure. It's a good point. Yeah. This hotfix also fixed an issue with Thread of Fate that caused issues with action skills. Can you explain what Thread of Fate do and how this fix affected our characters?
Well, Threads of Fate kind of it shoots an orb.
Mm-hmm.
The orb kind of just stays stationary from where you aim it for about 10 seconds, give or take on that. And then it just kind of laser beams. It just shoots a wibbly wobbly laser beam and leeches health and damages enemies. It is a pretty good spell for Graveborns. The fix essentially just resolved an issue with it where when you cast it, sometimes your weapon would be brought up, and for some reason it just locked you out of your action skill.
Oh, I see.
And that's just kind of gives you more reason to go back and use it. And it's definitely something that I'm looking into making a build around with Spellshot and Graveborn at some point.
Looking forward to seeing that. So the hotfix weren't that large this week, so let's go to the second part of our little podcast here called Make It Work. So let me think, maybe let's go for a quest rewards for a change. Let's go with maybe Last Rites. I remember seeing it for the first time, and for a moment I was terrified because it looks exactly like Face Puncher, at least visually. So tell us, what does this weapon exactly do, and how can you benefit from using it?
Last Rites, you shoot it, it ricochets twice. It shoots 9 pellets per shot,
Mm-hmm.
and if you hit a wall with that, it will ricochet once, and if you hit another wall, it ricochets again. I have had instances of where if you shoot an enemy, it'll ricochet off of them, hit the ground, and then hit the enemy again, which is really cool to do, because you're getting a double hit off of it. It's a really good weapon. Like, you know, mobbing with it, you can shoot one mob and the ricochets will hit everything around it, and it will just chip away at groups.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's not a huge amount of enemy density, but it's helpful in boss arenas. If you go down, for example, and you can't quite hit something, you can kind of ricochet off the wall with it, and it does a lot of damage for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with the melee attachment on the front as well, so that just buffs your melee damage a little bit.
Okay.
I think.
Mhm.
Go on.
No, go on.
I think if you're gonna use it, you're gonna want to start using it in ice-based builds or cryo builds. That's where it really does shine.
So does it mean it's good with a berserker, or which class would you suggest to go with?
Berserker would be my go-to with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Quag might have used it on his mono Berserker run, and that kind of just shows you how good it is. You know, you
Oh.
don't really. It's an ice gun that shoots ice spikes to ricochet. Does a hell of a lot of damage.
So to pick up on our weekly event that we have currently, if you were to get like the perfect ascended version of the Last Rites, what enchantment would you go for with it?
Probably action skill start cryo.
Mm-hmm.
Action skill start all damage. Action skill start. No, not action skill start. Action
So,
skill end all damage. No, thinking of something. Oh god, I had a list.
but one way or another, actions skill
If
focus, right?
I think the best thing for it, like I run it with Hammer Zerker, so I just throw the hammer
Mm-hmm.
and then shoot a lot. You know,
Okay.
you're going to get a lot of bounty, and you pull the hammer back, so you can get 2 instances of it there.
Mm-hmm.
You can use action skill active as well. Obviously, that one's not as great since they took it down from 60 seconds, but it works if you're deep into your rerolls and you get that. It is there to use.
Sounds good. I should definitely go and look for that now.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me here today. Thank you, and it was lovely to have you here. And thank you for all the work and help you do for the community here in the server. It was lovely to have you here.
Not a problem. I'm always happy to help.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone who tuned in. For those who missed today's episode, we will upload it on over the weekend on our YouTube channel. Links will be posted soon in server news and on our Twitter. Thank you guys, have a lovely weekend and keep it chaotic great.